So yeah, hey, welcome to TCBD Dead Talk. I'm Aaron, editor-in-chief of Comic Booked.
Everybody, Justin, managing editor of Comic Book.
And tonight we're talking about the newest episode of The Walking Dead, Season 6, Episode 10, The Next World. And you know, when you go into the next world, you meet Jesus, right?
Apparently.
So in this episode, we meet Jesus. Yeah. Anyway, and for those of you who don't know, Jesus is a character in the comics. Actually has had some military training and is really helping them with different things, and so he's been a good character in the comics. So it was interesting to see him introduced in this episode in a new and fun way. So
yeah, we see that he has some ninja skills.
Yes, he's very persistent. So.
Yeah.
But it's been 2 months since the last episode when Carl was shot in the eyeball and Sam was killed and Jesse was killed and lots of walkers were hacked to little pieces. And Robbie, right? Is that the other kid? I don't even care anymore. He's dead. Yeah, Michonne ran him through with a blade. So life seems to be getting back to normal. Walls are back up.
They've had time to take a picture of Carl and Judith. I mean... So they have film and a way to develop it. It's awesome.
Yep. Things seem to be moving along. So, but there is a huge crisis right now in the city, and that is they're out of toothpaste.
Yeah.
And I mean, that could really cause some problems. So,
four things I think that was like clever foreshadowing for what was going to happen later.
Maybe so. Yeah. Maybe so. So Rick and Daryl, that dirty guy, that possum eating guy, Rick and Daryl head off to do some more scavenging. And so, you know, Rick's talking about the law of averages, that things basically they got to find something today, right?
Right.
Yeah. But as it's interesting as they go, because Denise gives her list, and you know her list is like medical supplies, and then this extra stuff. And she's like, and you know, if you can,
Coke.
Yeah, what was funny because she's like, if you can find the pop, and he's like, what the hell's pop?
Right.
Like, well, I'm originally from Ohio, and I was like, yeah, me too. And I say pop, and people look at me funny, so I've just started saying soda because, you know, shut up. So anyway, and when I was in the South, I know everything's Coke. You want a Dr. Pepper? Yeah. How about a Coke? Well, okay. What kind of Coke?
You want a Coke? What flavor Coke?
Yeah. I want Sprite. Oh, okay, I'll get you a Sprite Coke.
Well, no, it's not even that.
I know.
It's when you go somewhere here and they say, and they have Dr. Pepper. Or, I'm sorry, not Dr. Pepper. When they have Pepsi products, you get Dr. Pepper. That's crap. Sponsor us, Coke.
That's funny. Yeah, we wish. Like to have a little bit of that money. If anybody from Coke is watching, we'd love to be sponsored by you. I do drink a lot of Coke Zero, so hey, you know, I gladly hold up a Coke Zero every episode. Yeah, right. I get it branded across my forehead. We wear little Coke T-shirts, you know, comic books sponsored by Coke. Hey, hey, we would be the first comic book website branded by Coca-Cola. Think about that, folks at Coke, because we are, you know,
and I'm local. I could go to the office and meet you guys easily.
Yeah, you should. You should just go to their front door, bring your business cards, and go. Hey, look, we're looking for a sponsor. We really love you guys. We'd love to promote your product. Otherwise, we'll start talking about Pepsi next episode. Just warning. Anyway. All right, back to the show. So this is why it takes so long. We were talking earlier about we got to cut our episode down. Well, we can't because we talk about stupid crap all the way through. So Eugene has his list, and he starts. I thought Eugene's was hilarious because he starts talking about sorghum. The agricultural stuff, and sorghum is like, what's sorghum? Like Daryl doesn't know what any of this stuff is. He's like, it's the thing that could take our food situation from scary to hunky dunky. Right. They're all looking at him like, really? Ever. That's funny because we grew sorghum when I was on the farm, you know. So if you know anything about agriculture, sorghum's a highly renewable food source, and so it would be good to have some. Yeah. But was interesting because when they do find the barn with sorghum, they go up there and it says sorghum on the door, but that's where they find this truck full of goodies,
right?
Which leads them to all kinds of other trouble. So we see Michonne up on the wall. She sees somebody out in the woods, so she of course goes to see who it is. Meanwhile, Maggie and Enid have a little talk. Maggie kind of wants to know where Enid's been. Rick and Daryl get the truck. Of course, based on Eugene's advice, they find this truck full of water and food and toothpaste and all kinds of good stuff.
Awesome stuff.
So they're really happy. So they take off. Well, they stop at this gas station on the way back, and as they're looking around the gas station, and they flip over this vending machine to try to get some pop for Denise, this guy comes running around the side of the building and bumps into Rick, and they all kind of have a Mexican standoff going on there, although he doesn't pull a weapon at that point. He doesn't have a gun, it seems like. Introduces himself as Jesus. His name's Paul. He says, but my friends call me Jesus. And then he takes off running. Well, then they hear shots from the back. Turns out to be fireworks. He set them up. He steals the truck because he had stolen the keys out of Rick's pockets when he came around and hit him. So, so it's nice to know Jesus is a thief. So, Michonne finds out that Spencer is the one in the woods and trying to figure out what that was all about. It was interesting. Carl and Enid were there, and Enid's like, I don't want to be here anymore, which is really, I thought was interesting.
Before that, Carl and Enid were hanging out. Carl was reading issue of Invincible.
Oh, is that what that was? I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
Okay. Color was not real great on my set, so
yep.
I have crappy cable. Okay, that's pretty cool. So they're a little...
So that's the second time. That's the second time we've seen Invincible in the show now.
That's interesting. Maybe there'll be a crossover.
Yeah, because they had the little toys before, and
that's right.
The little kids are in.
Yep, that's right. That's pretty cool. So yeah, basically, it was interesting because Enid had been the one who had been sneaking over the wall and going outside before everything kind of fell apart. Now it seems like her and Daryl. Boy, what in the world? Her and Carl. Daryl and Carl. Carl. I'll just start saying that. Carl. What was I even talking? Enid and Carl.
You're good.
Now, see, stuff's falling off my desk. Enid, Carl, they have been out and kind of hiding out in the woods, just spending time outside. And the walker shows up. But first, Enid said something very interesting. I don't want to be out here anymore. I thought that was interesting because before, she was the one who wanted to go all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But now she didn't want that anymore. So now was she feeling more like Alexandria was home?
Yep.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool. But I think, Carl had been taking her out there just because he knew she liked to be outside. And that was a way for them to spend time alone together. So, yeah. Well, so the walker... Okay, that doesn't happen yet.
Back up.
Rick and Daryl. Back up what?
I don't know where you're going.
Oh, Rick and Daryl running after the truck. That was funny. They're running down the road after the truck because there's no walker yet. That's next on the next page. And they find the vending machine laying there in the middle of the road, and they're all mad. So they're basically trying to find Jesus and get the truck back. And they're on the right trail anyway, so we'll see where that goes in a minute. The walker shows up. Carl's basically like, we're not going to kill it. And she's like, no, it needs to be dead. It needs to be dead, or it should be dead. And you don't really see the walker, and it's deliberate because later on when they reveal it, you kind of go, oh, okay, that makes sense. But Carl's words are kind of interesting there, because he says, we can't kill it. We don't need to kill it.
Right.
So, we'll see that in a minute. So Rick and Daryl catch up with Jesus. I keep wanting to call him Jesus because in the comics, that's what I always called him in my head. But Jesus. And basically they hold him at gunpoint. He's like, I'm not going to hurt you, and I'm a good guy. And Rick says, yeah, but what do you know about us? I thought that was interesting. Yeah. And earlier at the gas station, he had tried to ask him the questions: how many walkers have you killed? The basic questions that he asks to anybody. But Daryl had stopped him. Just like, we don't know anything about this guy. We don't want to just go extending our courtesies at this point. So they tie him up, leave him in the middle of the road, and they take off, thinking he'll be fine because he can get out of the knots, But then he's on the roof, and there's a big chase around, fighting around, and Daryl and him end up wrestling in the truck. And I think Jesus is the one who kicks the handle, the gear shift. Yeah. Yep. And then they fall out of the truck. He gets whacked in the head by the door, and the truck right in the lake. So there went all their supplies, all that hard work. So they decide to take him back to town, have him at least looked at by Denise, and kind of wrap that story up. So, all right. So Michonne and Spencer had been talking when they were in the woods. And Spencer said he was out here for a reason, but he wasn't going to talk about it. And then this walker, and you can see Carl runs by, and he must have been leading this walker to them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he saw them earlier. So
right. So he kind of knew, I think, what was going on once he saw who the walker was. Mm-hmm. You want to talk about who the walker was?
It was his mom.
It was his mom, Deanna. So that was very sad. We know she didn't kill herself.
Yeah, she went out.
But she went out in a blaze of glory, shooting the other all the walkers, trying to kill them instead of killing herself, like she'd said she was going to.
Right.
So yeah, she was out in the woods, growling and slobbering, and he had to grab her and stab her in the back of the head. And it was pretty sad. So they bury her, carve a D in the tree, and kind of leave things. So when they all get back to town, Michonne and Carl have a few words, and she's like, I saw what you did. You shouldn't have done that. It was dangerous. And Carl basically says what I had said a few seconds before him saying that was he couldn't kill her because she needed to be killed by somebody that loved her.
Right.
And that's been a theme, through all the episodes, is that if it's personal, then it has to be the person that's most connected to that person who kills them. So
right.
Otherwise, there's that resentment and stuff. So yeah. Other than that, I mean, that was pretty much it, right? That was the whole episode.
Well, I think we had like a little bit more.
There's like one more thing maybe that happened.
Yeah, the ship that everybody was waiting to sail.
Yeah, that's such a stupid thing. I told my son not to say that. Yeah, I think that's dumb.
I do too. I don't understand how that even came about. That's
because people are lazy. They don't want to say the whole word relationship.
Wow.
So they just say ship. I was like, my mouth doesn't work that hard to say the whole word.
See, I was overcomplicating it, trying to make some kind of crazy metaphoric reference to
people do with the word "bay," right? They try to make it's really some complicated thing when really it's just freaking lazy people who can't say two syllables. Baby. Oh, I can't say baby. I got to say bay.
Okay, that's completely stupid now. Jeez.
They're all stupid.
But yeah, I just didn't know.
Yeah, well, it's like an emoticon in real life. That's what it is.
We're all going to die. Everybody's going to get stupid.
It's going to be idiocracy. That's what it's going to be. Mike Judge was a prophet.
Right.
Anyway, so, yes, Michonne and Rick sitting there on the couch together talking, having, kind of decompressing after
talking about their day
for both of them. And not really talking about their day, but kind of talking about how bad their day was and how they didn't want to talk about it.
Right.
And he hands her lifesavers. She's like, is this instead of my toothpaste? And he goes, yeah, So he says, I got you a whole case of toothpaste about the bottom of the lake. And they kind of look at each other, and then they're all over each other. So, yeah. So it was interesting. But yeah, the very, very end of the episode was hilarious because they're both butt naked in the bed, and all of a sudden it's like, Rick, Rick, we need to talk. And they both jump out of bed naked, gun and sword.
Yeah.
And Jesus is standing there. So they had a come to Jesus meeting at the end of the episode.
You can get out of just about anything. It's nuts.
Yeah, yeah. So Jesus, the thief, and the escape artist. So it's pretty funny.
Yeah, it is.
Anyway, so it was a good, excellent episode. Yeah, yeah. And I was worried when they talked about having Spencer on the Talking Dead at the end. Because, you know, sometimes when they have those people on, they're dead.
Oh, yeah, true.
So, but it wasn't like a...
Michonne's on the Talking Dead also. So.
She's on there quite a bit, though.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like a secret thing, so I figured then it wasn't a bad thing. So that's all right.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Nathan Fillion was on there. I know he wants to be a walker on the show. So, anyway. Yep. So, all right. Well, that was good. It was a good episode tonight. So, we appreciate you guys watching. Like, share, subscribe. Help us get more than 12 views. Why don't you? Tell your friends.
We deserve like 20.
Or 25 even. I mean, I'm really reaching. That's my stretch goal is 25. But it's not a bad show, you know? I mean, we joke, we laugh, we tell the story.
Go off on tangents.
Yeah. So at least it's interesting. It's not like Walking Dead, there were some walkers and people died and then there was kissing and that was episode 10 of season 6. Thank you for watching. Here's my cat. Here's my cat. Yeah. So I'd be like, here's my dragon.
Here's my Coca-Cola.
That's right. And back to this. Oh, anyway. All right, everybody. Thanks. Tune in next week. We'll do the same thing, same time. Walking Dead tomorrow, next week. It sounds like a lot of good stuff going on as Jesus is going to lead them down the path that rocks. No, I don't know. Looks like he's going to lead them somewhere. I think that in the comics,
it's going to expand their world, man. Yeah.
So there were three walled towns in the comics. There's the farm, there's the kingdom, and there's the main Alexandria. So
Jesus have the kingdom.
That's what I'm wondering. Is he taking them to another walled city? Are they going to meet, you know, a new place? Because of course, I mean, they both lied to each other right off the bat. No, we don't have a camp. We don't have a camp. So
right. I think he's got more of a camp. I think it's going to be bringing more people into Alexandria more so than another city right now.
Yeah, but he said to him, "Your world's about to get huge."
Right. Meaning, I'm about to bring a whole bunch of people.
Maybe.
That's what I'm thinking. Maybe he's got a city.
Yeah. Maybe he's got 12 people that follow him.
Maybe so. Whoever's Jesus.
Yeah. Well, that would be the 13th, right?
Yeah. Well,
let's leave him behind. Yeah.
We'll have to see.
All right, folks. Thanks for watching again. Like, share, subscribe. Check out our website, comicbook.com, for all kinds of cool stuff. Yep. Stay tuned here. I mean, a couple weeks from now, we could have a giveaway if I can get a hold of some good stuff. We did get some Daryl ears this past week, so thinking about giving those away on one of these episodes.
We need to. Yeah. Next week, we're going to give away Daryl.
Are we?
Say it now. Yep.
Okay, so yeah, tune in next week for a Daryl Walker ear necklace soap on a rope, exclusive from Loot Crate from this past month. I will give that away for something. We'll see.
We'll see.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks. Have a good one. Daryl. Carl.